I'm going to ask you this riddle. If you get this answer and you message me what the answer is, private message me what the answer is, I will give you a gift of a homemade delicious challah made by Nechama. This #1 challah. You don't want to miss that out. But I trust you're not going to ask anyone else for the answer. You got to come up with the answer yourself. Or you can search for it. I'll be impressed if you come up with the answer. In the Torah, there's positive commandments and negative commandments. Positive commandment, for example, Rosh Hashanah is to blow the shofar. Sukkot is to eat in the sukkah, to give charity. Negative commandments, you shouldn't eat shrimp. You shouldn't gossip. But then, there's only one of them which can be performed only if you do not want to perform it. If you want to perform it, you'll never be able to fulfill this mitzvah, this commandment. This is a mitzvah which you can never fulfill consciously and voluntarily. Which mitzvah is it? Think about it for a moment. Stop it if you want to search. And I'll give you the answer. There's only one such mitzvah in this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion says, and I quote, "When you reap your harvest in the field and have forgotten a sheaf in the field, you shall not go back to fetch it. It shall be for a stranger, for the orphan, and for the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands." Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 19, which means like this. In the Torah, it talks a lot about charity. And if you have a field, like a field over here we have mango trees, we have beautiful fields here, we have a responsibility to the poor. So there's different laws. You got to leave the corner of the field, you got to give a percentage to the poor, you got a percentage to the priest. But then there's a law in the Torah that if you're going in the field and you forget a bundle in the field, once you forget and you pass it, and you go into the house, you can't go back and get it. So if a person says, you know what, I'm going to leave it there for the poor, that's a beautiful mitzvah, but it's not that mitzvah. The mitzvah of shikha is actually forgetting it. The only way you perform the mitzvah is forgetting it. The question is why? Why would the Torah make a mitzvah in general? You know, it's all about wanting to do what God wants you to do. It's all about thinking about, I'm doing something to help people. Here, the only way to do it is to forget. Now, we know in general, forgetting is a very negative thing, right? I forgot my wallet, I forgot where my keys are. So in general, we don't look at forgetting as a positive. We look forgetting as a negative. You know the joke, they say this couple goes to a doctor and they get older couple and they're telling the doctor, you know, they have a hard time, they're forgetting things. So the doctor says, I have an idea. Every time you need to do something, write it down. All right. A few weeks later, they're both watching, the husband and wife are watching TV. The husband gets up, he's walking to the kitchen, he tells the wife, listen, I'm going to the kitchen. If you want, I can bring you back something. She says, great. She says, I want ice cream. He says, okay. She says, but write it down. I said, I don't need to write it down, I'm going to remember. Okay, but I want strawberries on top of ice cream. He says, okay, no problem. He says, write it down, I'm going to remember. Then she says, but I want whipped cream on top of the strawberries. Write it down. Don't worry, I'm going to remember. Anyway, he goes to the kitchen. 20 minutes later, he comes back with scrambled eggs and potato. And she said, where's the toast? So we look at you forgot the toast. So we look at the forgetting as a negative. So what's going on here? So there's something so deep and so beautiful. And I think each one of us will relate to this very, very well. The Alter Rebbe, the founder of the Chabad Hasidic movement, gives a beautiful insight into this. He says like this, in life, the great goals and things that we want to achieve in life, we need to plan, right? A teacher can't walk into the classroom without planning. They'll fail. A principal can't walk to the school, can't start the school year without planning what's best for the school. You fail. A surgeon can't go to surgery without planning what they're going to do. They're going to fail. A lawyer can't go into the trial without planning. They're going to fail. When you build a house, you can't build a house without planning what you want. You're going to fail. In every step of the way, we have to plan. Planning makes sure that what we were going to do, we're going to be successful. But then there are things in life that come up without us planning. You know, they say in life, there's a wise saying, there are two types of people who fail. Those who have no plan and those who stick to the plan. So you see, there's certain opportunities that come up in life without us planning. It's opportunities to come out door that I never expected and it just came to me. Without me putting any work or effort or not planning, I happened to go somewhere, meet somewhere. A situation comes up, I happen to be somewhere, some night, I was sitting on the plane, sitting in the airport, sitting in a restaurant. Someone calls me, an email I read, whatever it may be. I didn't plan it, it just came to my lap. And those are opportunities that come from the subconscious world. And that sometimes is our greatest successes, when we're able to not just stick to our plans, but notice that opportunities come to us when we didn't plan it. And we take advantage of that. And sometimes that is the greatest successes in our life. And we have to do that. You know, it's very interesting. We say this in ethics, in Psalms. It says in chapter 27, which we read in the month of Elul, it says that our father and mother left us and God was with us. And the rabbis explain, what does this mean? That in the night of conception, when the child is being conceived, the first moments of the child's conception, usually the parents are asleep, right? After that moment, when the parents are together, and the parents are usually going to sleep, you would think that moment when the child is being created, those hours, 3-4 hours, they should be up celebrating, but they go to sleep. Who's only with them is God. Why? Why is it that way? So one of the rabbis said is because, very interesting, a beautiful thing, that the greatest miracles happen sometimes when we're not conscious, when it's all in the subconscious, and that's where God plays a role in it. And this is such an important lesson in our life. You know, especially this past year, there's so many things that we plan for, and there's so many things that we should plan. I'm not knocking planning, you need to plan. But then the greatest miracles happen when things come our way that we didn't plan for. Opportunities come knocking our way that we didn't think of. And then we have to remember to take advantage of those opportunities. I can think in my own life, in my personal life, with my family, in our Chabad life, in our friendship circle life. The greatest successes happen when I look back is a meeting that I went to, or something that happened, something that I saw, and that I didn't even plan it, and it just came my way. My dear friends, in moments when we're not so conscious is the moments when we have the greatest opportunity. That's why the Torah gave us this mitzvah, one mitzvah, to tell us that by forgetting sometimes, God is giving us the greatest opportunities. So let's look back at this past year as a year of great opportunities that we didn't plan for it, yet the potential is so great. Let's be excited, let's embrace it. Let's get ready for this coming new year, the Rosh Hashanah, where we have such tremendous opportunities in so many blessings that we could take advantage of that happened this past year. I look at this past year as a year of growth and a year of opportunities like we've never had before in our life. Take advantage of it. Shabbat Shalom.